Happy Halloween! Hey guys, welcome to the Table Read. This is our Halloween edition. We're going to be talking about arguably one of the most terrifying science fiction horror movies ever to be made.
That's right, we're going to be talking about The Thing, of course, which came out June the 25th of 1982, of course, arguably one of the most terrifying films, as you said.
So, as we're talking about hosts, I'm Dan the Dead.
I'm Menace.
And I'm Kev Apollo.
And welcome to our Halloween edition of the Table Read. So let's get into it. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, I mean, before we acknowledge and address the power and outstanding influence and importance of this film, let's not forget that we're talking about a feature that, unlike its source of inspiration, the original The Thing from Another World, it was notoriously ignored, not bankable, and critically slated when it first came out.
Yeah, it kind of flopped when it first came out.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it was. So, Kev, why do you think this was a flop for the studio when it first came out?
Probably because audiences weren't ready for this thing. It's pretty mainstream because it had the effects of B movies at the time, trashy films. Apparently, E.T. had just come out the same year, so people wanted friendly aliens, not this kind of stuff. But overall, I just don't think people had the patience and they weren't ready for it, and which is why it's taken quite a long time for it to find its own audience.
And you say it took a long time. Well, this last week, Arrow Video has released a limited edition to 4,000 copies, a set of a Blu-ray. There's a book in there. There's posters. There's also amazing special features and bonus content.
Only 4,000 copies.
Yeah,
and you have one.
Yeah, of this edition. I have one in front of me of this edition. But there's also a steelbook that was limited, and they've also released a standard edition. But I've got the limited one, which I'm gonna say that was difficult to get because it actually crashed the Arrow Video website. And Amazon.
4,000 is not a lot.
No, and it sold out in 20 minutes.
Wow.
Every copy was gone.
This film is packed with limited edition content. Let's just break down some of these features for the sake of people who might want to pick this up themselves. I mean, it got a brand new, as we said, 4K restoration for the original negative, as seen and supervised and approved by
Carpenter himself.
By Carpenter himself. We have there's so much. There's a documentary about films that were released the same year, 82.
Yeah, it's brand new as well, this documentary, isn't it?
Yeah, this finish just packed.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say. Yeah, it's just packed wall to wall with bonus content and really, really good stuff. So yeah, you were saying that that it's taken a while to get to us, and it is a classic now. And I think by seeing that this was sold out and it did crash a website, it's a favorite. It's a fan favorite now. It's become one of the staples in pop culture.
Yeah, I think a great thing. A lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but I don't think a lot of John Carpenter's films have dated very well. I saw Escape from New York only 5 years ago for the first time. Yeah. Doesn't date well. When you watch it for the first time,
I haven't seen it for a long time.
It's hard to watch, and this really I'm gonna put my life at risk now. I saw Big Trouble in Little China for the first time last week. It's difficult to watch for the first time in 2017.
Really?
Yeah, I can see it's a good film. I can see why people like it, but at the same time, I think nostalgia may cloud some people's eyes.
I think nostalgia is a big thing with that movie because I remember watching it when it was on TV. I was about 12 years old. It was late at night on a Saturday, and I loved it. I just I remember the guy with the light in his eyes and low pan and all that sort of stuff. And Kurt Russell was great. But I've watched it recently. I have an edition of it, also by Arrow. Plug. But I quite like it, and I think it's probably pure to nostalgia reasons for me.
Yeah, but there's films that I really like in terms of nostalgia, and a lot of people see them for the first time today, and they don't like it either. But it's as long as I understand that, that's okay. However, The Thing, I saw that for the first time about 5 years ago, round about the same time I saw Escape from New York.
I was late to The Thing, also.
Now, this is the best thing about The Thing for me. How do I describe this? Okay, so we grow up, we watch these films, and we absolutely love kind of nostalgia a little bit, like films like Aliens and Alien, Hellraiser. We
Yeah.
love those films. Always will love those films. When
Yeah.
you watch films these days, you like the films. You don't tend to love them.
Okay.
There's a lot of films out there. There's not many films that grab you and think, oh my god, I'm gonna be watching this in 40 years' time. You know, you love it. The Thing, however, was the first time in about 6 to 8 years or something where I watched the film and I thought, this is incredible. I feel like I'm 14 years
Suffocation.
old. Yeah, I feel like I'm 14 years old watching Alien for the first time again. You know you're watching something awesome.
Well, I had a similar experience recently. I watched the film for the first time, and it didn't affect me. As well, I didn't have an effect like that since I watched something like The Thing, and that was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, I know you guys are fans. I had never seen it until last week.
Really?
It was a first-time viewing for me, so I know exactly what you mean. That is a great film.
Yeah.
You
You know you're going to watch it again soon as well.
Yeah, definitely. But it's that feeling of, again, with both films, Body Snatchers and The Thing, they're kind of quintessential paranoia movies.
Yeah.
It's about who can you trust. It's about feeling essentially alone.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing about the film itself. And one of my criticisms of John Carpenter, I shouldn't say that sentence, criticisms of John Carpenter, when you know who Luke's brother is, a massive John Carpenter fan.
Yes.
He could hurt me. But a lot of time I do find him to be a fairly lazy director. He just lets things just slide a lot of the time. But The Thing, everything's perfect. The whole paranoia of it, the way it's captured, everything's bang on, it's perfect. You can't, there's not one criticism of the film. The only criticism you could give this film is by judging the special effects. But then if you judge the special
I love the
effects,
special
I love them
effects.
too,
I
but if
love
you
it.
judge them on that, you just don't get it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people would say that Halloween is probably his best work, but I disagree.
I think I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan. As a friend of ours has said, that it's basically a glorified TV movie. And I
Yeah.
kind of stand behind that.
But people love it. My
They
parents
do.
absolutely love it.
They love Halloween. But I think The Thing is his best work.
Luke, when was the first time you saw it?
First time it's sort of thin is a tough question for me to answer because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
I can't quite pinpoint the first time I saw it. But I will say that I remember it having the same effect it had on me. You know, I was left with the feeling of it being a classic, a very accomplished piece of art.
Yeah.
And it's very much you mentioned the word paranoia, which I agree with, but beyond that, I think it's a very suffocating experience too.
It is, when you just
know,
got
it's
so
very-
many...
Very intense. I mean, you wonder if, in part, the motivation behind him making a remake of The Thing came from being inspired by a remake you mentioned, which of course is another 1950s sci-fi film, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
But it could be argued that another game changer was the bigger influence. Do you guys think it took for audiences to understand, as consumers, Alien in 79 in order for Carpenter to have the confidence to make The Thing?
I don't know. I don't think it gave him the confidence to do it. I'm not saying that Alien didn't play a part, but as Kev has already mentioned, E.T. came out that
Yeah.
same year.
May it gave the studio confidence to make it.
You know, at that point in time, people wanted E.T. They wanted Mac and Me. You know, they wanted those kind of alien films.
Right.
They wanted somebody who was cuddly and they could relate to.
This is, I will say that this, I mean, it won't be a surprise to people listening that Carpenter has an educational background in science fiction literature.
Yeah.
He has a degree in it. So this, I like to think as The Thing as the first, or at least one of the pioneering sci-fi films for adults. It was very emotionally legitimate.
Yeah, like Alien, I would say.
Right.
Yeah,
like
and
Alien.
the fact that you got sci-fi on one hand, you got horror on the other hand,
Right.
and they've crossed genres. This is a science fiction horror movie.
Yeah, you had a few like beforehand, like the classic films you call like Day of the Triffids.
Yeah.
But
Well,
like
so
like
this-
Invaders from Mars. But these films were pretty much just B movies.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Hokey effects. This is one of the first ones where it actually made characters the forefront of the story, and focused on paranoia more than
Yeah.
actual like aliens or anything like that. It's like, who is the thing?
Yeah.
Who can you trust?
And do you ever know at the end? Still don't know.
Well, it's debatable, isn't it?
There's
Apparently,
been so many write-ups about what's in that
yeah.
thing that he's drinking at the end. Is it
I hope,
gasoline?
I hope Kurt Russell isn't the thing. I really hope he's not, because as far as I'm concerned, apart from being a supporter of the Second Amendment, Kurt Russell can do whatever the fuck he likes. He's just,
Yeah. So let's talk about Kurt Russell then, when we're on it.
Yeah.
You know, as MacReady.
Yeah. Kurt Russell is just one of the greatest actors. One of the most underappreciated actors.
I think underappreciated is right.
Yeah. So like, if you just compare his roles as a performer, you don't go from MacReady, you don't go to Captain Ron. You don't go from Captain Ron.
Tango and Cash.
Yeah, Tango Cash, Stargate, Backdraft.
Yeah.
Like,
And even up until like 2 years ago, Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
even
absolutely.
Soldier. He's even good in Soldier. Which
Bone
is a dreadful
Tomahawk.
film.
Bone Tomahawk, of course, which I recently saw for the first time. I loved it.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the Hateful Eight, which you just mentioned, there's actually an interesting story about Ennio Morricone using some of the music he wrote for the film for Tarantino's The Hateful Eight.
Oh, did you really? That's
Yeah.
new. That's new to me. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
and it's interesting because much like the film, Hateful Eight is very much a whodunit film.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
there are
parallels.
similarities
There
actually.
are- there-
It's about people.
the landscape, the
Yeah.
people,
and
the humour.
and again about paranoia, because
Absolutely.
you don't know whose side the people are on
Right.
in that tavern or
Right.
or
Yeah.
Minnie's haberdashery.
That's the word.
Yeah,
right.
you know, yeah. And yeah, there are parallels there. I can completely see that.
And it's interesting that you take a film like The Hateful Eight, and let's not front and pretend that Quentin Tarantino isn't a feminist, because I believe he is a feminist. In light of this Weinstein
Ooh.
story coming out,
Yeah.
I believe that Tarantino's
Shocking.
been overlooked for being a feminist, which I believe he is, and his films are proof of that. But my point is, you take
likes
a
feet.
film. He does like.
He
feet.
likes feet.
You take a film like The Thing, a film in
He likes
which doesn't have
Django
any females.
Unsocked.
A film
Django
that doesn't have.
Uncash.
Guys,
Sorry, man. Sorry.
a film that doesn't have any female cast. The Thing doesn't
No, it
have
doesn't
female
actually.
cast.
No, it doesn't.
Um,
It's all dicks in there.
it-
Like no, they're not dicks. I'm just
The
saying it's all
things.
penises.
The things,
Yeah,
right.
it's a bunch of things hanging out.
No, it's just interesting to see the influence and how it's extended into
Yeah.
different directors' work.
But we got Kurt Russell, who I said is one of the most underrated actors
Mm-hmm.
of, well, all time if you ask me. But what about Keith David?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Keith.
You know, like Keith David, he's awesome in this. He's awesome in
you know,
They Live.
They Live, another Carpenter film.
Pops up in Armageddon. And
Hey,
then-
you know, he's the guy in There's Something About Mary.
is he?
Yeah, he's the stepfather.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like,
he's in that.
Hey, who put the beans about the Franks?
He's horrible in Requiem for a Dream, but no one knows who he is unless you're a geek like us, and that's
Which is
that's a
which
travesty,
is
you know?
criminal, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we're talking about taking it back to They Live, I mean, it's a film very much again based upon this premise of paranoia, so it's something that is within Carpenter's.
and if I'm
work.
right, released around the same time as like within a few years.
Yeah,
of
not,
the thing.
not so far detached from each other. That's
Yeah.
right, and a classic.
Yeah.
And a classic.
Another
like
underrated
the film.
Carpenter movie.
Yeah. What's interesting is that between Carpenter and Cronenberg specifically, both have made several fantasy, horror,
And also
and science
remakes
fiction films.
remakes of a remake of The Fly.
A remake of The Fly, but my
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is, it's a
A remake
body
of
horror
Invade- yeah.
film. It's a
Yeah.
body horror film.
But the Fly, the original
It's
Fly,
a
and the
remake,
original
right.
The Thing
Yeah.
were like 50s movies.
50s,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's a classic like The Thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. You just took the words out of my mouth.
Hey, snatch.
I mean, with that being said, let's talk about The Thing and its influence in films and popular culture.
Okay, what films that have come out maybe like the last 20 years or maybe even the last 10 years
Well, the first thing I'm
that
gonna
you
think
would
of.
you would say is The Thing is like influence.
There's an X-Files episode in the first season called
I knew
Ice.
it'd come to X-Files. I knew it'd be X-Files.
Yeah. But literally in the first season, there's an episode called Ice, and it is directly lifted from The Thing, and it's done as a massive homage to it.
Oh, nice.
It pretty much is exactly the same story. There's even dogs in it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's one part of the whole influence.
Nice.
What about yourself?
Well, you're gonna like this. there's a scene in season 1 of Stranger Things.
I am gonna like this.
Where
I know. I just binged like season 2 in one day. It's worth
How
it.
did
Do
you like
yeah. Without going like super nerdy, just fucking watch it.
I
Man.
saw episode 1 last night. Isn't there a reference to Season of the Witch where he says that's a green pumpkin?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
so. You see,
Halloween 3.
That's not the reference I was
Going
going to
over
make
my
about.
head, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I know.
It's
No
good,
spoilers
right.
for Stranger Things.
So there's this scene where Scott Clark, the science teacher of the boys, is watching a scene from the film. with
Oh,
his
yeah.
girlfriend.
yeah.
And they're talking about the effects. It would be impossible, as we were saying earlier, to run down every scene in the film. with
Yeah,
the
because isn't he
effects being so
explaining to his girlfriend
About
on
the
the sofa?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. I mean, H.R. Geiger was originally supposed to do the effects.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, but apparently his style was too distinct. so that
That's
didn't
interesting to think. Actually,
happen.
would
Yeah.
it?
Well,
Would
yeah,
it be better?
I'm not sure if he'd be better.
Because, like, I mean,
But-
you watch Alien and no one criticizes the effects and the design in Alien because it's just timeless.
And it's genius.
It's genius. But, you know, the effects in the thing, I'm not criticizing the effects, but they are crazy.
They
you
are,
know,
and I think
a new audience may not like it.
I think they were down on a budget as well,
They were.
because I know I've seen some documentaries about the effects and how they've used like little remote control cars to get the thing around, the little spider thing, and where the guy's head sort of falls off the table. It was all used with bubble gum.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
just to get that stretchy
You know, but
feeling.
it looks great. But I'm just worried if like a new audience would watch it and think, yeah, it's
I don't know
cokey."
why in a time of CGI.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
hard not to appreciate. I mean, with this same token, it's interesting to note that a lot of people would later discredit, you know, the Finn remake or slash prequel, however you want to.
I'm gonna call it a pre-make.
Gonna call it
I'm gonna call it a pre-make.
A pre-make. A lot of people felt the effects were lazy looking.
It's not the effects I got a problem with. It's the story.
Of this 2000 and
What year was
Was
it?
it
2011?
2008 was it?
No, it wasn't then. I was
No?
no. I was in working my.
Oh shit! No.
Yeah.
What am I saying? That was like fucking 9 years ago.
But the prequel to the thing. Let's just have like just imagine this film wasn't created.
Yeah.
It's already really lazy just by being called The Thing already, not The Thing 2 or something else. Or
Yeah.
The Thing
Oh, look at my
prequel.
thing.
This one sentence, prequel to The Thing,
Right.
that could be awesome because you drop little hints of what happens in the original film. It's all about a Norwegian team. They find
Yeah.
this thing. Great, you got a whole new story there. Why did they do the exact same fucking story?
I like not knowing.
Yeah.
I
Think of
like
that
not knowing.
then.
I like not knowing what happened before. I like not knowing what happens afterwards.
Yeah, well, that's taste really.
Yeah, it's mad
but
taste.
it was something. There was something there though. But to be the exact same story, like also having a test scene as well. You know, it's like, what is the point in this film? This is a remake. Got the same title pretty much. You're just very lazy.
It is called The Thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was like there could have been a whole new story they could have done there. And like, it seems to like sequels and prequels
They
stuff.
could, it could have called it "Have You Seen My Thing?"
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
it is hard.
Yeah,
You said
rated
that-
18.
You said I want to take it back to something you said about you liking not knowing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's what's always been of
Because
interest is how mysterious even Carpenter's remained on his feelings about his.
I just
remakes.
think that it gives the audience, the intelligence, okay, is to make their own opinions and their own ideas up of what happened or what is going on. I think it's a film that doesn't have to spell it out for you, and is taking, a lot more of a backseat and saying, look, audience, you're intelligent enough to kind of figure things out yourself. And a lot of films don't do that. They have to spell it out for you.
And let's not forget, this is based on a short story as well.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's based on a short story.
Okay.
But it was also going to be directed by numerous directors, who I'm forgetting off top.
Okay.
But initially, it wasn't just Carpenter's name attached to the project, which is interesting.
Yeah, it does sound familiar. But you are right in saying like things have mystery when you don't know, and it does work. Like for example, the character, the Joker. You know, unless you're really, really, really into like the whole like Batman mythology, there's not really much to know about the Joker's
But
backstory.
even if you go into the comic books, and there's no solid backstory
but that's
to the
what
Joker.
that's what makes this
Yeah.
character.
I think the
why he's so
closest-
sadistic.
The closest you get is the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a backstory there, but it's not really explained really.
No, but now we hear we're going to have a Martin Scorsese directed or produced film about the Joker.
But the Joker starring DiCaprio apparently.
Is it really? Well,
Yeah.
like in one way, it sounds awesome.
That could be good.
But then you're thinking this is going to change the whole saga, the whole mythology of
It's
Batman.
not, yeah, and it's not linked to any. Like Batman's not going to be in it.
But you could go back now and you'll watch The Dark Knight and you think, oh, this character went through this beforehand.
Yeah.
It's going to change everything. You got to get it right. You got to get it right.
Yeah, because Jared Leto didn't get it right.
I haven't seen it.
No,
Guess
No,
most things right, didn't
don't
he?
bother.
Yeah, I like Jared.
I like him too.
Yeah.
That was a Joker.
Yeah. But that's the great thing about the table read, isn't it? You know, you can talk about one thing and you can spiral off to something else because film is awesome.
Film is awesome. Soundbite that. Write that down.
Write that down, Lynn. Write that down. How do you feel about the music in this film? It's not. It was the first.
It's Carpenter did it. The music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's quite low key,
No.
isn't it?
Carpenter didn't do the music.
He
No,
did?
It was the first. No, he didn't. It
Wow.
was the first film Carpenter did for a major studio.
Wow.
First and foremost, so the first film in which a major studio
So then
asked
it's-
him not to do the music.
Wow.
for.
That's
Ennio
crazy.
Morricone.
Oh,
Of
okay.
course,
He's
yeah,
a
of course.
legend as
He
well,
is a
man. Yeah.
legend.
It's quite low
Do
key.
you know what, it's-
say, for
Yeah, I
for
like the
his
music, but
kind of scores.
I always assumed
Yeah.
that Carpenter did it because he
No,
does
it
the.
sounds Carpenter.
He does,
It sounds
yeah.
Carpenter.
And yeah, I haven't got a problem with the music, but I did assume that Carpenter did the music for it.
I know it's Ennio Morricone, but what's interesting is how he hasn't been used, you know, in this age of this nostalgia for synth music, to do more
Which is
films.
back with a
Yeah.
big
it's,
bang.
It's amazing how he hasn't been asked to do more, you know, any films outside of his the music.
Who's this? Ennio? Or
Carpenter.
Yeah, gotta say Ennio's dead.
Yeah.
Um,
What did you say?
well,
He's alive.
Yeah,
What?
he won an Oscar for Hateful
Yeah,
Eight.
he's
pretty
alive.
sure he's dead.
No,
Yeah,
he's
he won an
alive.
Oscar for Hateful Eight. It's the-
Listeners, can you confirm?
Yeah,
He's
it's-
alive. He's alive. He's,
yeah.
he's definitely alive.
Did.
Okay,
yeah.
well that's
Yeah.
made my day a little bit better then.
yeah, knowing somebody
But-
is not dead is always a
Score
good
your
thing.
funeral.
Well, John Carpenter, he actually narrates on one of the Gunship.
Gunship,
songs,
yeah,
who are a great
Tech Noir.
band.
Tech Noir.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gunship. Yeah, listen to those. Type them in YouTube or whatever. If you like synth music, you like Carpenter music,
Yeah.
check out Gunship. They're a
Fantastic
UK
band.
band. They're great.
But yeah, John Carpenter is touring now as a musician.
He is,
Like, he
and
doesn't make
you
films
saw
so
him
much.
live.
I did. I saw him. I guess it would have been about a year ago, maybe this time last year, October.
Yeah.
I
Ev-
saw him at Bristol, Constant Hall.
Even though he didn't actually score this film. Did he have any music from the film at all?
I don't believe so, but
Oh,
maybe he collaborated with Ennio Morricone. But
I would have thought you'd have some sort of say in it, you know?
I'd imagine, yeah, well, he'd have had a say in it for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know how hands-on
Like
he
artistic.
was.
Yeah.
I can't really, say how hands-on he was with.
So
I mean, he's a legend, like
Yeah.
you say, Morricone.
Well-
But it's just interesting, like you say, there's this massive resurgence of
Synth music, yeah.
and it's nostalgia for it. But yet, and still, you watch these films, and he hasn't been utilised and asked to do, music for
What do you
these
think?
films.
What do you think of him? Well, as a composer, then,
Brilliant.
because I think it's hit and miss.
it is
for
hit and
me.
miss. But it might be
That's
down
just
to
my personal
that's just songwriting in general. Like you look how, because you can like change as a songwriter very quick. But if you look at his films like Halloween, that score is incredibly basic. It's just pretty much the same couple of notes repeated
Yeah.
over and over again. But as he went along, like, he got more melodic. Like even like the single for Big Trouble in Little China, you know.
Oh my god!
I mean,
Do.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. But
Big trouble.
then again, he goes,
Little
"Take
China,
me away, take me away."
away.
Like the melody would come into it. He was always learning as
Big trouble, little China.
I saw that video as well for the first time now. so-
Great.
Yeah,
video.
it's sad.
it
man.
happened.
It's sad. It happened.
Great video.
But I personally don't want John Carpenter's music to be taken. I think it is what it is. I don't really think it should be touched.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
So we all love The Thing, right?
We all love the thing.
Okay, so if I'm a big Hollywood producer, like already I have no hair, but I don't have a beer belly, and I'm
Three bald men talk about movies.
But if I'm that guy and I say, right guys, we're remaking The Thing, no prequels, no sequels, we're doing a remake of The Thing, what's your reaction to that?
I'd be like, oh.
I don't.
No, that's no, not that reaction. Oh no, I'm not sure. Do you know what? I wouldn't be like completely against it because I think new and younger audiences should watch the original. Well, not to say the original. John Carpenter's The Thing, and if a remake gets them to watch the Carpenter one, I haven't got a problem with that. I like the fact that some remakes have made young audiences revisit the original and have love then for that original movie.
Not just that, maybe just think about the whole story as well. Not so much in this film, but in They Live. Like, that's a film I'd love to have a remake of, because what that says about society in general.
Yeah.
People need to hear this message, and if that gets remade, then hopefully that would.
Especially in this
have
day
that
and
good-
age.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You know, like
So topical right now.
the whole political climate we got. We need a film that says something to people, says something to young people.
Yeah.
And The Thing, in a way, does have something there about.
It does, but I think
Question.
I think you know you nailed it with They Live though.
Yeah.
I think if that was made today, or would it be allowed to be made today? You know what I mean? With, you know, with the studios the way they are at the moment and the politics going on, would a film like that be allowed to be made today?
One of the things we haven't talked about is how very Lovecraftian this film is too. It's a very, very unapologetic Lovecraftian-driven and based film. You know, these are stories.
Oh no, yeah, I'd see that Lovecraft was an influence on it.
Absolutely.
You know, when you go and look at stuff like Reanimator and things,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, so I do definitely need to address that, even if it's short.
Mm-hmm.
How much? 35 years.
And you know, we're talking about this because it is Halloween, and it's 35 years old this year.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And you
It's
know,
older
look,
than us.
but looking at this 4K restoration, the quality still stands there. And after 35 years, not a lot of films do. And I don't know whether that's to do with the transfer or just the fact that, you know, it's just a good quality made film. I know you said about the special effects, but for me, I prefer practical effects anyway.
I do as well.
So it hasn't really dated that much for me, but
Yeah.
to a younger audience,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, I think an audience, younger audience, might be a bit more dismissive
Maybe.
away these days, which is a shame. You know, but people grow and educate themselves. They
Yeah.
learn from things. So, again, like I only saw this for the first time myself 5 years ago. I loved it straight away.
Yeah.
I never been into body horror, things like that. It's a story that makes this film work. So
It does, yeah. And, you know, we've said before that this wasn't successful when it first came out. And now is listed on most horror fans or even film fans' lists as the favourite. You know, like especially the top 10, well, at least top 10. You know, of horror movies of all time, I'd say.
It's top 5 for me.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, Kev hasn't seen the hour release.
Oh,
and I know
okay.
you guys listening can't see it, but just to get
Yeah.
his reaction.
you can't see it because we haven't been picked up yet by the BBC.
No.
Like our fans at the moment be like, oh, I used to listen to them. Like when they had their own podcast, they had their own Tumblr account before they sold out to the
So just-
BBC.
If for people listening, if they haven't seen it, what do you describe?
What we got? The texture of this paper is
Yeah.
great for my autism. Okay, we got a double-sided poster.
You've got newly commissioned artwork,
Yeah.
and obviously the original artwork. What do you think about
Real stanza.
What do you think about the new artwork?
Oh.
But if you take a look at the front box, you can see that it's inside his hood,
Oh yeah.
which is kind of cool.
I really like this artwork. Yeah, I think this is such a retro look to itself.
It is. It
You
is.
think this would have been released at the time? I think I prefer that to the original one.
Yeah.
Because the original one is quite out there,
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's the poster down.
Cool.
You might want to fold that back up because I have this thing where I cannot fold paper properly and I bend it and
You need to go to origami school.
I saw an origami swan earlier
Nice. Swan.
at a drum fair.
You want to do a drum fair?
Yeah, it's cool. There's drums there.
So what you got in front of you now, Kev?
This is a book with a nice illustrated picture of Sir Kurt Russell. And you open it, you got more Kurt Russell. And you open it, ooh, Burning Man. But yeah, it's got a really cool book here by the looks of it. It's got,
it's
bit
got-
from the script.
It's got some script in there.
Some behind the scenes. Oh, it makes reference here to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, as we mentioned earlier. In Defense of John Carpenter's The Thing by Kevin Alexander Boone. Who's been criticising The Thing?
And who is Boone?
Yeah. You don't need to defend The Thing. I've just been talking about The Thing's great. You know,
I like how they put
this is the table read. We know
defend,
how it is.
Defend the Thing in a Thing book.
But I don't want to go into too much detail. I don't want to spoil it. But it's a really detailed book in here. The texture of the paper is lovely.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful book.
One of
This is-
the coolest things that happened to me recently was being best man at my brother's wedding, and in turn my brother got me a gift. It was an original Thing poster by Drew Struzan.
Yeah.
For those listening who probably already know, but if you didn't know, he's done the artwork for Back to the Future, the Star Wars series, Indiana Jones, and the list goes on and on.
He's done
But
some great stuff.
he's done some great stuff. So he's done this original Thing artwork as Kevin has in his hands right now.
I'm going to open the box now.
He's going to open the box.
But
What's in
before-
the box?
But before I open the box, and he goes, "Oh, Mulholland Drive and the table read goes crazy." Yeah, this is awesome because like a lot of our releases, they put on like the special features and they do a lot of remasters.
Put a lot of time
They
into
don't
it.
normally put books and posters in there quite a lot. This is
Yeah.
a really good quality release you got here. But anyway, open the box.
Open the box.
David Lynch style.
What's in the box?
That's my David Lynch sound effects. Okay, so we got just like ours normal stuff. We got reversible cover. Let's have a look at that.
It's one.
Oh, it's
disc.
the original.
Yeah.
You swapped it around yourself, did you?
No, it was.
Oh,
It
okay.
came like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we got like the original cover in like the reverse with this new design we got, and we got some postcards. Oh, these are great. You got postcards just like on the original style film posters you used to get.
Yeah. So like the lobby
Yeah.
cards, that probably would have been in the cinema at the
Yeah.
time, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Do you know if these are original prints? That's
I-
just been redone.
I think they're being redone for the limited, probably like 4,000 of each.
Nice
Great.
edition.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is sold out now, yeah?
It is sold out,
Okay.
but you can get the standard edition.
What's in the standard edition? Is the book in there and stuff like that?
The book is not. It's just it's the Blu-ray. It's got the 4K transfer.
Yeah.
And you don't need a 4K Blu-ray to play it. It's got that transfer on there.
Either way, I'm sure.
And
know,
you've got all the bonus stuff that you'd have on it as well.
If you're lucky, you could find one of these on eBay. You can like find one on Gumtree. You know, just look out for it. If you, like, there's only 4,000 of these out there. Look out for it. Go for it. And if you can't get it, just
Yeah.
buy the thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, get the standard edition that they released.
Yeah.
It's great.
Even just buy it on DVD.
Or just even if it's
just
on
that
DVD.
good.
If you find it all beaten up VHS, pop it in.
Yeah.
And the VHS.
This is the thing. This is the table read. I'm Kev Apollo.
I'm Dan of the Dead.
And Menace.
This has been our Halloween edition of the Table Read. We'll see you soon, guys.
One more time.
Happy Halloween!